Hey YouTube, it's TSP back again with another video. If you are a fan of MMA and have watched any of the recent fights, by this point you're aware of the fact that Jon Jones has been accused of using performance-enhancing drugs, steroids again, and is currently undergoing the process to have this reviewed and potentially be stripped of his title. So today I thought it'd be a good chance to talk about him, performance-enhancing drugs, and the mentality of a champion. So first and foremost, if you have watched any of my past videos or you've seen my video looking at the mental edge between Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier in that fight, if you haven't looked at it, check it out. I'll link it down in the description. But one of the things that I talked about is the fact that Jon Jones has previously been shown to have used performance-enhancing drugs in previous fights. So one of the things that I talked about is the fact that this is something that can become a crutch for somebody, because when you have the experience of, the recovery and the endurance that you experience when taking some type of performance-enhancing drug or steroid, it can be something that you start to rely on, and you rely on it in such a way that it becomes a mental and maybe even a physical crutch that you kind of rely on it. So that was something that I had concern about regarding Jon Jones. I don't remember how many points I took away from for that in terms of his mental edge, but I knew that that was something that was going to be affecting him. So now forward to this fight and the drug assessment that was conducted, and there's some evidence that he may have cheated again. And this is kind of controversial, and it's kind of sad. I'm actually a little bit sad, but I'm not sad for Jon Jones. Not at all. I'm kind of sad for Daniel Cormier, because if you watched that fight and you saw Daniel Cormier after the fight, he looked like a broken man. He was, not only was he knocked out, but I don't think it was all the fact that he was knocked out. I think that being beat so handedly by Jon Jones after he had control of that fight, at least it seemed early on in the early rounds, I think that messed with him. I think that messed up pretty badly. He was talking about retiring from the sport shortly after that, and I think that that's something that can easily break a man, being beat twice by your arch rival, arch enemy. He's Batman. He's Jon Jones is Joker to his Batman. So I feel bad for Daniel Cormier, and this has got to be even more of a whirlwind of emotions for him now that he's going to see that, hey, there's a good chance that Jon Jones was still cheating. I think that even with that information, that's not going to be able to help heal or fix that destruction that Daniel Cormier experienced emotionally at the hands of Jon Jones. So I'm curious as to see what happens with Daniel Cormier and what his approach is if Jon Jones is stripped of the title. I do think that if this goes through and Jon Jones is stripped of the title, I doubt that he'll fight in the UFC ever again. That would be amazing. I don't know if it would be not a great thing for the UFC, because giving these guys, he got a second chance. That was a second chance, and now to get third chances, and this might have been the third time he was stripped of the title, if I remember correctly. I'm kind of blanking on things right now, but I believe that there's a good chance that Jon Jones did cheat, right? We know that in psychology, the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. In past behavior, we know that Jon Jones has engaged in illicit drugs, so he's used illegal drugs. We know that he has used banned substances for performance enhancement, and so he's doped, he's cheated in the past. So the best bet is that he has cheated again. His coach, his manager, has come out and defended him like a good manager should do. But he has to probably know that Jon Jones cheated, but it's good for his manager to stick by him. And so I'm not going to condemn him, because, hey, until we have a conclusive word of what's going on, I'm not going to say anything. I wasn't a fan of him in the first place, but one thing I wanted to touch on is the fact that I do not believe that Jon Jones has the mentality of a champion. So a lot of times when people think about professional athletes and they think about the abilities of these individuals, they tend to focus on that physical ability. Well, what we know about professional athletes and really high-performing athletes in general is that at the highest levels of physical performance, for the most part, you know, every now and then you do have freak athletes like Jon Jones and some others. We do know that there are just people who are just gifted, just in immense and astronomical ways. But at that highest level, the level of functioning or the performance abilities physically, for most people, there tends to not be such a significant difference in physical capabilities. Typically, what distinguishes between the people who are just amazing athletes and the people who are at the top, who are the elite of the elite, the Michael Jordans and the Wayne Gretzky's, is their mental capacity, the mental character and the strength of their mental abilities when it comes to dealing with adversity. And I don't believe that Jon Jones has this. So this is purely speculation, but thinking about what causes a person who has tremendous abilities to go and use performance-enhancing drugs typically suggests that there is some type of fragility in his way of approaching his perception of himself. So to some extent, he probably has this belief that he's not enough, that he needs something to give him that edge, in spite of his amazing physical abilities. I do believe wholeheartedly that he could have beat Daniel Cormier either fight without using performance-enhancing drugs, just from what I've seen in him, in his just his movements, his physical abilities, his fight IQ. But at the same time, I don't think he has a mentality to look at himself and say that I have what it takes to win and to be the best without the aid of something such as this. Mind you, this is speculation, but there's something that's missing there. If we think about mental ability, mental training for those who are at the highest levels, they have the ability to sustain a high level of physical functioning and physical capabilities even in the face of a significant amount of adversity. These people have the ability to, when the times get tough, they get to going into their mental life, and they have the ability to evaluate their self-talk, the things that they're telling themselves about what's going on in the fight, what they need to do to turn the fight around, or any other sporting event, but they have the ability to really evaluate and make sure that their self-talk is at a high level and it's going to foster a change and comeback. He may have this, but he doesn't have the initial starting blocks that allow you to enter into this contest without saying that I need something to help me to take up, to get to the level where I can really dominate and destroy this opponent. And that's unfortunate that he doesn't have that initial fortitude and view of himself that allows him to go into this realm of fighting MMA without having something to give him that edge physically, and ultimately put him in a place mentally where he feels comfortable with using and executing with his abilities. And so that's unfortunate for Daniel Cormier, I would say, for the most, and for the sport of MMA, because Jon Jones had an opportunity to be one of the most amazing and dynamic fighters that we have ever seen. I believe that his legacy is forever tarnished. I think whether he has his title stripped or he retains it, I think that his legacy is going to be tarnished forever, because people will see the drug use, and they'll see the multiple strips of the title, or the multiple controversies that have surrounded him, and that's going to overshadow anything that he did do, anything that he could have done for the sport. And so I think it's really unfortunate. And so I think that, at this point, I think Conor McGregor is going to go down as probably the best mixed martial artist of all time. I don't think there's anything that can take that away from him now. Whether he beats Mayweather this fight, or he loses to Mayweather. So I'm looking forward to that fight. I hope you're looking forward to the fight. I'm definitely going to watch it. If you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me, TSP Super Psych. Twitter, also TSP Super Psych. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And subscribe, like for more videos. And hopefully you can make your tomorrow better than today. Thank you. Thank you, and have a nice day.